journalists that have been in here, and then in-house from our scope is what we're going to be discussing, our top stories of discussion. And with me in here, I have a man who has been on ground discussing most of these ones and bringing those stories and bringing public opinion direct to your living room and direct to where you catch the morning show from. And that is none other than Barija Andrew, who is in here for us to discuss more about our weekly topics of discussion. Andrew, how are you doing? How is the morning? Mine is a bit fair, not feeling quite well, but I think we're good to go for the weekend.
Yeah, though I got a little cold.
Yeah.
You know, these days it's almost, you know, the kids are back from school, and our brothers are just right there, so it's quite a little bit, but all is well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, as Andrew joins me on set this morning, back again. He normally comes in every other morning from 7 a.m. to 7:30 to bring you the news recap, and then he sums it up at the end of the show with the SMB on ground. As Fridays are always like this, we get to discuss our top topics of the week, and Barija Andrew takes us into those ones.
Yeah, actually on Monday, recently Kenya released its first consignment to China. And you know, there was this question that why can't the government of Uganda negotiate such deals for Ugandans? You know, this was avocado being exported from Kenya to China.
Yeah.
So you can see those massive revenues. But then, looking at that perspective, I believe Uganda, there are opportunities of export. I remember in March 20, this very actually, the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, together with the European Union, we're renewing, you know, a trade deal between Uganda and Europe. Of course, it's aimed to boost Uganda's exports, you know, to at least from $500 billion estimation to $1 billion annually, you know, and a part of this initiative whereby Uganda can export to Europe free, and also Europe we can import from Europe also without quotas and tariffs. And you find that that's quite a good advantage. Though despite the fact that that was put in place, there was this initiative by the European Union officials saying that the only challenge with people in Uganda, they don't have knowledge, because Europe has a lot of things it needs from Uganda, you know, because the major exports we put out there is coffee, there is coffee, fruits, vegetables, fish, you know, and so many others. So the concern was that these people are not aware of the market trends. So in that same aspect, you know, I was so amazed by the fact that these people were so really interested to boost Uganda's export earnings. They invested an extra 170 million euros. And this money is meant to train Ugandans, get decent jobs so that they can produce efficiently. Because another factor they mention is that we could be having the quality. Okay, there has been this propaganda, quality, but with quality, at least Uganda, we are doing our best to rise it up. And that's old news, actually. But there is an aspect of quantity. Quantity means, will you be able to sustain the supply? Because developed countries don't really care about your quality, but are you going to sustain that? So all that comes with a financing which has been put aside to be invested in Ugandan entrepreneurs to help them, you know, build a production capacity, to be able to actually provide to the European markets. So in that aspect, and also, of course, there are also these, you know, there is something about we Ugandans that we have this perspective of, we think about getting money too fast, but yet we've not gotten to understand the idea we are getting into. But we are thinking of, hey, well, no, I can get some good money, it's profit and stuff like that. So those were some of the matters that were being addressed. So looking at Kenya and China, I believe Uganda, we are too blessed, you know. And of course, I was reading a report regarding trade. You know, Uganda being part of the AGOA, I think that's African Growth Opportunity Act. Okay. And they were assessing the reasons why Uganda's exports are deteriorating.
Okay.
And of course, some of the factors they were mentioning was the limited, of course, high transportation costs.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was also the aspect that there is limited demand of Ugandan products from the United States of America.
Okay.
And also, so I was trying to relate this too, but also to find out that Uganda actually doesn't have trade agreements with the United States of America. Okay, it's one of the factors they were attributing to that.
But I personally feel
Yeah.
there is something that we really need to discuss and look at greatly.
Yeah.
Is looking at a target market. We may realize the United States is not our market for now, but how about the alternatives? Where are the options? Now, when you also mention something to do with trade agreements, I think it takes us back to the issue of what does the government do during these meetups with these foreigners?
Yeah, foreigners,
Because
yeah.
what Ugandans are asking is, when shall we ever get such kind of trade negotiations? We've seen government officials going out of the country and then meeting all these important people or meeting all these big economy powerhouses. And then our discussions normally are, how can we have these deals in Uganda also for our local, for example, our local investors here? Because we have a lot of people who have potential.
Yeah.
And I think that is something we need to discuss about. We really need a target market. Now, for example, Kenya having a market for avocado in China.
Yeah.
How about if we come out and say, if we have, for example, powdered milk, let
yeah.
this be our first priority country where we're supposed to export our large volumes. Once we get these markets, I believe everything will be easier for us.
Yeah, you're actually right about that, because Uganda, we have delegates that travel in so many countries, actually, quite a lot of. And sometimes we actually get these deals, but it all comes back to how we take, there's this thing they talk about, Ugandans, our attitude towards work, something, because I believe, even though they make a deal with the US, a free trade deal, but if we as Ugandans, we don't work on our, can I say, on ourselves, on our state of how we do things.
It may be difficult.
It may be difficult, because by the time the European officials, Europe is willing to invest money to train us, probably there is great potential. They see that. 170 million, that's about 670 billion Ugandan shillings. It's quite a lot to in quality and more research.
Okay,
regarding
and
that.
on the other hand, what else did we have this week that definitely caught the attention of you, and as well as a big topic of discussion among the viewers?
Yeah, of course, there was, I remember the tax, the express penalty scheme.
Okay.
That was so viral right there, because actually I was at one of the places where the operation was taking place, and that was at Old Kampala, that mosque, Old Kampala police, and quite so many vehicles were being impounded, and these are people that were offending offenses on the road, but at the end of the day, when they're given these papers, how you can keep your paper and you'd be like, I'll pay later. But this time around, it was a surprise, a surprise ambush, and because when I was talking to the officer in charge of the traffic commander for the Kampala Metropolitan, he talked about this being having a target to raise 8 billion Ugandan shillings as a result. And he was saying that majority of these people are being fined these, like they're given these papers, but they don't take responsibility to that. And of course, a day before we first went to the people that are being affected by this, that's the taxi people, and they were saying, hey, at least if they could at least do one paper at a time, because you find that one person has about 5 papers. So let's estimate that maybe it was 200,000 each, so that's about $1 million. And but still, in my interaction with the traffic commander of Kampala Metropolitan, he said, yes, we understand the economy is not good, and and we are trying to be a little bit considerate, but still, we don't. These people should take the responsibility to ensure that they clear their fees, their dues. Can I say that, the fine on time? Because remember, these papers that they give you, all these issues, the receipts, those are all resources. I mean, government is losing and they're not making profit. So it's that responsibility, because this money entirely goes back to run the operations of those government agencies. It's not a personal basis. So they had a target to raise 8 million. And the funny thing is that the vehicles that didn't clear that, where I was, remember that's where Old Kampala, is it Old Kampala? The school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Around the Old Kampala Mosque as well.
Mosque, exactly. So that's where the vehicles were being taken as a result of those that had the fines and they didn't clear. They could take them there because it was zero balance.
I just want to understand, what was the target of the traffic police in regards to this penalty, the express penalty?
Like the target in terms of
the money that they expect to get out of this?
According to the officer that's of the Kampala Metropolitan, Mr. Kauma Nsereko, he told me they needed they want to collect 8 billion. Ugandan shillings after the exercise.
And of course, we've come out to remind Ugandans out there to be very cautious when using the road this time round, because these express penalties are looking at, one, the people who apparently defied these particular guidelines or road safety rules and measures that were put in place by the traffic police and of course the government, and then also those who defied paying these penalties that they were supposed, or these fines that they had supposed to pay, maybe before or even during this year.
Yeah.
So from that perspective also, I want to know, did you get a chance to interact with some of the road users? What was their say in that?
Actually, not on camera, actually, majority were a little bit scared, but of course, they were saying this is unfair. They didn't warn us about this. I mean, it was so abrupt because it was a Monday starting, and the thing, of course, there was disgruntlement. They were not satisfied with that. Saying the economy is bad. Why this time around? And there was this. I saw majority of the people are saying, "Hey, I cleared, but why am I still told this?" And they had to. All the officers were like, "Okay, let's check into our systems to see what really went wrong." But of course, when I was still talking to the Metropolitan Command, they told me that sometimes those delays, when you delay to, like how when we register for national IDs, and when they release them to your parish where you're supposed to pick them, and you don't come to pick it, they take you to the what? They tell you, go to Kololo now, go to this place. So that was the same issue, that those who didn't pay in time, instead of paying to the respective police areas, now they had to go to Natete, where the spokesperson of the traffic sits, So that was a little bit, that was the whole idea. So it was all about people taking responsibility to clear that. But despite the fact that there were also some little bit of, can I say, imperfections within the system of how they're doing. And that was the main disgruntlement cause that majority of the people were putting out there.
Okay. Now, lastly, as we're left out with only 4 minutes on the clock, what else did you have in your weekly review in regards to top stories?
Top stories. Yesterday, actually, I reached out to the people of Nakawa regarding the school fees prices.
Okay.
And, people are just disgruntled. And when you tell people, what are you going to do about this? Everyone tells you, we have nothing to do. It shows you that how people have given up on the life, like regarding life matters, regarding, I was talking to a parent, and he told me, those days we used to pay installments in 2 phases, but now we are likely to pay them in 3 or 4 phases. And, a majority of these school people, like the school owners, are kind of setting targets which are a little bit harder for the parents to sustain. They may tell you, like how we used to study, they tell you that at least clear 50%, clear this percentage. And the parents, because I was trying to tell them, okay, why can't you try to negotiate with the school owners? Okay. But by the time a parent tells you that, even though I negotiate with the school owner, I have nothing to give him. Even though he told me 30%, I don't have that 30% with me. So you can see that even the students, now I'm thinking what the students are thinking of, it's every parent's dream to see that a child attains the best education, and because well, the future is bright after that, right? Because we live in a world where they're going to ask you for the papers.
Yeah.
As you can see, the Uganda Airlines case, it's quite, these matters are very serious.
Very, very
you know
true.
what?
And
So,
I believe most of the parents the government, not only the government, even school owners can bear with the parents for some time, because you get to realize with the current conditions, and the reason as to why schools want to increase school fees is because of the conditions, because of inflation, because of the hiking prices, the hiked prices of commodities. So that means even these parents are facing the same hardships as you are. Now imagine a parent of 5, 7 children who are still going through school.
True.
And they are supposed to be they're supposed to pay maybe 50% before they get back into school, because I do know of schools that have guidelines that you're supposed to pay at least 50% before. Now, once it's VD or the visitation time, you have to clear off. And
requirements.
After VD, most of these students are actually sent back home if at all parents have not completed. Now, there are also some parents who do not even make it to the visitation day.
Perfect.
So I think we've all been through school and we know what that means. But I guess that is it for our review here, but I'll give it back to Andrew to sum it up all.
Well, it was quite a week of busy events, of course. Quite a lot of events are taking place within the country. But also, as we are winding up this session, what I would like to urge you out there as you're watching here, despite the global crisis that we are facing, not only in Uganda, but also the world at large, let's be solution-oriented. Regardless of what, that's the only way we shall be able to catch up with life, because the only difference between these countries that we look up to till this date is simply because the challenges that they faced, they didn't give up, let me say that, but they just sat down and looked for solutions to ensure that they survive. You know, mankind is one species that is done for survival. You can survive.
All right. And also living within the means is something that we should look at greatly as individuals, because you never know at the end of the day when things will be worse for you. Today you may be earning some good money, and then you start adopting to a lifestyle that you may not be able to
sustain.
Cope up with, and sustain after all. Anyway, that is it for Smart Means Business this week. And today is the 26th of August. Lucky enough, we shall be back when it's still the month of August on Monday. It will be the 29th of this very month, the 8th month of the year. And surely Barija Andrew will be back with you tonight in Smart Tech at 10 p.m. And in there you'll be getting more about technology and all that matters business in tech. And that is a show that you would definitely want to miss. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. You can get me on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Jerome Paul Sonko. Then our socials on Smart24R, Smart24 TV. Then our website is www.smart24.tv if you want to get more of what you've missed. And our YouTube channel as well is Smart24 TV Live and Smart24 TV. We've got 2 of those. Do remember to subscribe in order to keep up to speed with information regarding business matters as we drive them on. Channel 372 on DSTV and channel 394 on GoTV is where we at. Have a blessed day, a good weekend, I should say. Till Monday, goodbye.